I've had quite a week still trying to distill all of my thoughts and feelings around the presidential debate. Okay. I live in New York, and in New York there are a lot of parks, and in some of those parks you'll see, it's like an iconic thing about New York, that there'll be somebody playing chess in the park, right? And sometimes they're just two old men playing chess or checkers. Sometimes it's somebody that's like, hey, I'll play anybody, I'm practicing for a tournament. And a lot of times it's somebody who's playing chess, but they're playing for like money. Like, you put 5 down, I bet you can't beat me, and I'll put 5 down, and we'll see. And then, you know, speed chess as well. They got the clock next to them, pow, and a pow, and a pow, right? And I've played before, and I'm not good at chess. And it's crazy how fast you can lose. Sometimes I'll be playing chess in the park, and he'll be like, checkmate, but it sounds like there's no way. Then I'll grab, I have a chess book, and I'll look at the board and look at the book. Like, damn, okay. That wasn't that many moves. I don't know what else I was supposed to do. You know? And I don't know, I feel like watching the election and watching the debate felt a lot like that. It felt like bad chess moves. We've watched a lot of debates that Trump has been in, and we've gone 2 for 2 this year with having remarkably historic debates, both of which were like, whew. You know what I mean? Like, you get done and you're like, whew. Felt like I was up there. And there was a moment in the first debate that was echoed in this debate. There was a moment back when Trump was debating Biden, and I've talked about it before, where there's a second there where Trump looked at Biden, and for a split second, he wasn't trying to be president. He wasn't even trying to debate. He was literally like, hey, he good? Like, no, y'all, stop. Is he good, though? It was a different tactic than we've ever seen before from Kamala debating Trump, because she debated him the way that I think a lot of us might debate him. You know? I'm not gonna speak for anybody in here, anybody listening to me. I don't know if you're like a political analyst. I don't know how involved you are with politics, but she debated him the way that I think we debate him sometimes in our heads, which is to be like, what did you just... Because most politicians are not, hear me out. Most politicians don't behave like people. And when I say that, I want you to understand, I mean, maybe they care about people, maybe they care about getting something good done, maybe they care about forwarding their agenda, but they don't react to things, and they don't behave like people, like just regular people. It's why they feel fake, is because they can't just be like, oh, shit. You see, man? Do you see what I mean? And it's why people from 2015 on have gravitated towards Trump, because he feels like they would react. Like he will say, oh, shit. But then You look at someone like Kamala, and she's a very polished person, very accomplished person. But in that debate, she was having moments that for the first time ever felt like moments that we might have up there. Does that make sense? Like when Trump would debate other Republicans leading up to the nomination, or when Trump would debate Hillary or Biden, there was a sense of like, wait, are you not going to say anything about the thing that he just said just now? Why are you staring forward, acting like what you heard wasn't wrong? Why are you like looking to the moderators to fact check? There's nothing more exhausting than when someone who could be a good player is looking at the ref to be like, help. You know what I mean? You say he's lying right now. Like he just lied now, so say it now. Don't later be like, and then they didn't even help. Do you see what I mean? We've watched it happen. We've watched, he was in those debates. Republicans did not know what to do with this man. He was over there telling Ted Cruz to his face, your wife is ugly. And because Ted Cruz doesn't move like a person, doesn't react like a person, he didn't slap him in his face in that moment. No, Trump has shown that the American people were ready and willing for someone unorthodox. You know how much he would have surged in the polls if he had walked over from his podium and was like, what? And then slapped Trump in his face. I know at least his wife would have liked it. I don't even remember what he said about Marco Rubio. I just remember Marco Rubio looking littler and littler every day. Marco Rubio started showing up. I was like, is he 4'8"? Nobody knew what to do. Journalists didn't know what to do. Journalists were like, but you can't say that about the press. But he did it. What are you going to do? And so now you watch this debate with Kamala, and we've all heard it and probably said it ourselves, that she baited him a lot, but he bit every time. And this is my thing with that, is that decorum aside, don't you want someone representing you that could maybe let something slide? It's got to be tough to be in the public eye. It's got to be tough to be and feel slighted all the time by lots of people that you meet that you don't know and they hate you. But also, you're here to do a job. You're here to do a job on the highest level. So a lot of people won't like you. No matter who wins as president, there will be people who are very upset. Do you really want someone who could be so easily irked? Kamala said, nobody. Kamala said that people leave his rallies early out of boredom and maybe confusion. I don't remember the other thing she said, but she said people were leaving early. And this is what's so interesting about that. We can talk about how much it's warranted or how much of it he egged on or whatever, but there has not been in a very long time a political figure that is as hated as Trump by a lot of people. So a lot of people have said every type of thing about him. A lot of people have drawn him. Do you know how much you gotta hate somebody to draw them? A lot of people... Drawings take time. It's one thing to curse somebody out real quick. It's a totally different thing to... No, wait, I'm getting his ass. I'm getting his ass. I'm gonna take a break, but when I get back, he about to get it, all right? So all manner of things have been said to and about him, about himself, about his family, about how he behaves, about how he actually feels, about Americans in America, all of it. But this thing hadn't been said. And it turns out that this was the thing to say. This was the thing. If you're talking about feelings, this was the thing. And that's, look, as someone raised by black women, don't. Black women know how to hurt feelings. Only a black woman would be like, no, go to his little rally and see him. That's how confident she was in what she was saying, that she told us to go. She was like, look, I'm gonna do something I wouldn't normally do. Go ahead and go. You'll leave early, don't worry. That was the thing. That was the thing. And you could see it happen. You could see it, oh. On his face, you could see it happen. This dude who has held the highest office has been called a traitor. He's been called a Russian asset. He's been called all manner of things. But this was the thing. And it's because deep down at his core, even his supporters will admit that deep down at the base of who he is, Trump is an entertainer. And all I'm saying is, as a fellow entertainer, if someone had said, Josh, people leave your shows early out of boredom and confusion, I'd be like, oh, okay, we fighting, say less. This was the thing. That was the thing that like broke through this weird armor. Because I've noticed that Trump specifically has a thing that has always kind of existed in politics, but has never existed to this degree, right? Where Trump has a filter created by his base, by the people who like him, love him, and everything, that he can say whatever he wants, but they will distill it for him for the rest of us. He'll say whatever, and then they will be like, what he meant was... But what he meant shouldn't have been what he said. Because he said this, and you're saying he meant something else, but he also had access to the words you just said. So are you sure he meant what you're saying and not what he said? I'd like to think that when you say something as the commander-in-chief, you mean what you said when you said it. You didn't say something being like, they'll figure it out. And because he has that filter, because that sort of buffer exists between him and like sound arguments and logic. I don't even mean that as like a diss. I literally mean he could say something and then it could spin out past something that he meant for real, right? Because as an example, that that's like Trump's vaccine. I know we forget that, and I've talked about it before, but that's like, as far as presidents go, as far as you getting credit for the things you do while you're president, that's Trump's vaccine. But when he tried to say, guys, we did it, we have a vaccine, and his audience booed, he realized what it's like. Oh, I don't necessarily control what goes out, even though I said it. I said you should get vaccinated, and then they booed me. So clearly, it's not like a one-to-one. What I say is not, it won't be exactly what they do. So now I'm also trying to figure out how to like keep them on my side, but win them over, but lead them. I think in that moment you saw him get really worried and confused, and he immediately backtracked. He was like, or don't. And I said all of that to say that the screen, the buffer, the thing that he usually has, I'm not saying he lost it for good in this debate, but he did lose it a little bit. Because I grew up in Louisiana, and I know people who are like hardcore in the MAGA movement, like people who are like, no, Trump is the guy. He is going to fix everything, right? I've grown up with these people, and we know each other well. And this was the first time that they were like, that wasn't great. Because even in debates against Hillary, they were like, no, okay, he said the thing, and I know it's a good soundbite for you liberals, but like, this is what he meant. And the thing that they're saying he meant, which is what they heard, which is what they decided to hear, is a reasonable thing when they start saying it from their mouth. So now I'm like, oh, okay, if that's what you think, that's what he said, then I can see why you're still like really gung-ho while I'm more put off by what he said, you know? But this was the first time that there was almost like a shared language. There was like a shared reality around like, what's happening to him right now? And he started to spiral, and he said, hey, look, they asked him a question. I can't remember if it was about immigration or the economy, but they asked him a question that should have been a layup for him. And he was still like, can I address the rallies for a second? Which, as a fellow entertainer, I understand. If someone had said that to me, I would have also been like, hey, listen, let me explain, all right? It was a Friday late show. They were tired, okay? You can't put that on me. And he said, can I address the rallies real quick? Because people don't go to her rallies, all right? They don't go to her rallies at all. The people that go to her rallies, she got to bust them in, and then they don't even have fun while they're there. She doesn't have any snacks. Now I'm paraphrasing, but like... But he did. He hit back with like rallies. They asked him underhanded. Should have knocked it out of the park, and he got distracted by rallies and crowd size and things that make sense as a priority if you're an entertainer. But if you're about to be the leader of the free world, they shouldn't matter as much. You know? And you could see him kind of spiraling after that, because he was a little frustrated by like this thing that broke through. Then that never happens. Trump is a very hard person to debate because people like him are very hard to debate because they're not trying to have a debate with you. They're trying to make you look dumb. And because Trump is like very good at making other people look dumb, he's very good at debating. You see what I mean? But this was the first time that he was like, what is she talking about? My crowd. And so, you know, he had a bit of a spiral. And before you know it, he was like, look, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating... And you could tell in that moment that Trump wanted to say another animal, but he couldn't think of one. Because he says pets, but pets is off rhythm. if you go back and watch, it's like they're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating. And you can see for a split second the wheels turn of he's like trying to think they're eating the bird. No, we all eat birds. They're eating the pets. You know? And then, you know, Kamala does a thing, and it's a thing that we've done when we've been watching debates, when we've been watching rallies, when we've been watching them on the news. She does a thing that we've done before, that a lot of other politicians have not done on stage with Trump. She laughed at him. And I think there's context to that laugh, because I'm not trying to get too, like, I don't know, like too much of a deep dive into it, but like there's context with that laugh, because she's not laughing at him, she's laughing at what he said. And that's really different. It's one thing to say Trump is a joke and Trump is a joke, and you could make the argument that the reason Trump became president was because Obama made him a joke. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Obama made fun of this man and he just sat there quiet, you know? And then years later, he was like, peaceful transition of power, huh? There's a big difference between laughing at Trump and laughing at what he said. You can think that Trump is a joke all you want, but he laughed his way to the presidency. But then when you laugh at what he says, when you take the power out of what he's saying, that's a very different thing. You know? She laughed at what he said for a second. And then there was a second. It was very slight, but there was a second where she was still smiling, but she wasn't laughing. And then there was a second where she wasn't smiling and she wasn't laughing. And it was reminiscent of like, yo. Yo. No, wait, yo. You know? And that's my thing, is I'm like, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that's different, you know? It was very, very different. And the thing I've noticed in both these debates is that they're not even about who did well. They're just about who did the least poorly. That's what we get stuck on. Like, it wasn't even, last debate wasn't even about Trump performing well, it was about Biden crashing out. And then this debate wasn't as much about Kamala winning as much as Trump. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. They're eating flamingos. They're eating the pets. No. And it was the first time in all the times that he's debated that Trump looked 78. Because he's 78. And he's got a lot of energy, so we let a lot of those years slide. We don't feel like he's 78. You know what I mean? Like I've known grandpas like Trump. I've known grandpas that were like, oh, he's got so much energy and he's so spry. And he's eating a lot of fast food. But he's 78. You know what I mean? But I guess this is one of my main things about it, is that like, it was the first time I saw him look out of his element on like a really important moment, you know? And I don't want people to think that this is like, that's it. That's all that needed. Not at all. It's harrowing how little it actually moved the needle. Almost everyone feels the way they felt before. even after we saw what we saw. And we agreed that it didn't go well for one person. But we're still like, nah, I'm still gonna go the way I was gonna go. That's interesting, you know, that after all of this, they're like tied. Wow. They're tied. In lots of places, they're tied. It's not even like it's working out to be a tie because all this place and all this. No, in a lot of places, they watch that and they were like, I don't know. That's pretty wild. You know? The first time he really looked 78, because it was the first time he said something that, like, a grandpa would say right before you put him in a home. You know what I mean? Because be honest. If you let a lot of stuff slide as like a child or grandchild, and then grandpa been living by himself. But if one day out of nowhere, and you haven't seen where he saw this on the internet, he just walks up and he's like, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. You're like, okay, that's the last straw. I let you put the remote in the mailbox several times. But this is the one that I can't abide. This is, because it really has consequence. And I think that we live well enough here, even though I'm not even pretending things are just phenomenal. I'm just saying, day to day, by and large, we do get by. And I think that when you get by, especially comfortably, it can feel like a game. You know, it can feel like something that doesn't matter as much. You know, and it can feel like something that you're just playing at. And I think that, you know, it's important to remember that all the things that these people say, these are very powerful people already, and one of them is going to become even more powerful. Everything that they say, everything they do has ripple effects. You know, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's like a meme. It's like a thing that's starting up. But it's also, which is very, very important, because we did a thing back in 2014, and we've done it ever since, that I don't know how to fix it. I'm just saying what happened from 2014 on. Anyone online that was even all the way from like crazy people down to people who were slightly conservative, right? From 2014 on, were just called Nazis outright. Right? Anything. And even a question, oh, you Nazi, right? To the point where Nazi started to not mean anything. And when it doesn't mean anything, it's hard to make it mean something when like an actual Nazi shows up, right? And I want to be clear here. The thing that Trump said, it is a lie started by a neo-Nazi. I don't care how many people on Twitter try to find something to make it make sense after the fact. It's a thing that a guy said at a community meeting where he was specifically targeting the Haitian community, and he said that we will not be safe the more Haitians we let into it. That's also the other part of the soundbite. Outside of the dogs and cats, this dude was specifically saying, and he gets kicked out of the community meeting. That part also didn't make it into the viral clip, right? And so when people are saying, well, I saw, and they have these fourth-hand accounts of like my brother's, sister's, uncle's girlfriend has a cat that's missing. And they try to put stuff together. There's even a video going around of some people cooking a cat that's from a year ago and not in Springfield. And then that became like evidence. There's another picture of a guy that was walking with two geese that they said he was on his way to go cook, when actually it was found out that this dude was pulling these geese away from a car accident where they got hit, and that he's probably not Haitian. But even so, death threats, bomb threats, all of this horrible, horrific stuff has been happening to the Haitian community, to the point where apparently, maybe this isn't true, but apparently even the person in the Facebook group that first posted about, oh, my niece's cat is missing, and thinking, She has even come out and been like, I never meant for it to turn into this. That was just a Facebook post. Maybe she was having a goof with a friend. She didn't think it would come out of the mouth of the former president in a debate where he was flailing. So all these things have real consequences. It's not a game, and we are not chess pieces, you know? And even after the debate, you know, it almost like hijacked the whole narrative of Trump losing the debate and Kamala winning it. Now it became about this weird thing with hate. And it's also already, in that little bit of time since the debate, switched into Africans, because now they were just like, oh, wait, we got it wrong. It's not Haitians, it's Africans that are eating the dogs and cats. And so now it's already shifted just to try to find some truth out of a thing that was a lie, right? And you have J.D. Vance afterwards who, you know, pretty much probably fed that to Trump. And he's sitting there talking to Collins in an interview, talking about, okay, whether we find out that this is somewhat true or only a little bit true, was not willing to call it a lie, right? He says that, you know, we don't have evidence. This is me paraphrasing just for the sake of brevity, but basically we don't have evidence that there's no evidence. And the thing that is like so brain broken about that logic is that it creates a tidal wave of insanity until you can finally make something that you want to be true, right? Because it could ruin anybody's life. For instance, when you look at J.D. Vance, there is no evidence that there's no evidence that he didn't bang a couch. Do you see? Like, do you see how that's an unending thing? How it could ruin your life and never go away? How you can't even sit anymore? Because people see you next to a love seat and wonder? Do you see how insane that is? A lie that we know is a lie? But we'll work our way to figure out how we can make it true, you know? So just please, I mean, look, we watched the debate, and it was everything from a little bit boring at times to thrilling. We shouldn't even be debating like this anymore, to be honest with you. We've ruined the debate. The debate is too much like a chess game now, where it's like 90 seconds, 90 seconds, make your move, make your move. That's not how you solve problems. When you go back before debates were televised, the people that showed up were willing to be there for hours. And the candidates had a long time to lay out their position. So there actually wasn't as much of a chance to fully dodge questions. Because they were like, what are you going to do about immigration? And you have until you figure it out. But when it's 90 seconds, you can be like, what are you going to do about immigration? Well, I believe... Is time up yet? They used to take forever because that's as long as it takes to figure out a problem. And it's as long as it takes to figure out what someone's real piece on something is, you know? If you could figure out big problems in 90 seconds, we probably wouldn't have any, you know? So just watching this thing of like, and then, it feels crazy. It makes me feel crazy because I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. They're not going to make us feel like they have a plan in 90 seconds, you know? And there's too much of an opportunity to get derailed, you know? There was one point where it felt like maybe the only time in the debate where Kamala seemed a little angry. There was only one point, and I don't even remember exactly what led up to it, but she basically was talking about how Trump, which I forgot this happened, because when you live in like a 24-hour, 36-hour news cycle, everything is just sort of going, and there's no time to latch on to anything that matters, and there's no time for like real nuance of an issue. You're just going and going and going. But he did invite the Taliban to Camp David. And I remember when that happened being like, aren't they not supposed to be? The Taliban. Okay. And I remember that moment distinctly because out of nowhere, Kamala turned to Trump and said, this. And you can tell she's trying to find a word that won't get bleeped. And I know it because she had to reset. She actually closed her eyes for a second. This. Once again, as someone who was raised by black women, anytime my mama looked at me and went, you. In her mind, she killed me. You know, in her mind, my life flashed before her eyes. She would come back. This former president. All right, that one will work. You know, she pointed out something that we all saw. We just didn't seem to remember, or maybe it wasn't that big of a deal at the time, you know. It's important to remember that we're not like just playing teams. It feels very much like teams, which I think is why so many people are like dug in, and no matter what happens, they're like, I'm not switching teams. But this is not a game, and we're not chess pieces. You know, it's very important. You register to vote. It's very important that you go vote and everything, because it's not going to be won by memes. You know, you can't like internet your way to fixing everything. You know, because I don't know. I don't know how everyone in this room feels or anyone watching feels. I just know that like I just want to feel comfortable with who is representing me out in the world and in front of the country. I want someone who is willing to maybe move a little bit like I would move. Maybe play chess the way I play chess. And I'm not even good at chess. You know, I just, you know, we all, everyone, no matter where you fall on party lines or anything, everybody wants somebody with a plan. And they asked them. They asked him, it's you want to repeal and replace Obamacare, and you say that you have a plan. We're asking right now, what is your plan and how would you enact it? And he didn't answer the first time. But when they asked again, they were like, after 9 years, what is your plan to repeal and replace Obamacare? Because I need to be clear here that like, if something is a good idea, a really good idea, I don't care what party it comes from. If something is a smart idea, because I am not playing teams, because I don't feel like this is a game. This feels very real. The things that get said in a presidential debate that are funny, that are a joke for a little while, lead to death threats and bomb threats in real life. All of this is real. So if somebody has a plan and it's a good plan, not only will I hear it out, I might even help them try to make it happen, because it helps a lot of people and it gets us somewhere, right? And so they asked him, after 9 years trying to repeal and replace Obamacare, what is your plan? And he was like, look, I have concepts of a plan. I'm starting to feel like if he had repealed and replaced Obamacare back when he was president, not only would we not have health care, but I'm pretty sure our doctors would shoot us. get hyped for the 4th of July ahead of time, really far out, you know? Get great barbecue, you know? It's the country's birthday and everything, you know? It's the only time as a guy you can look up at the sky and be like, ooh, sparkly, yes. You still have to hide it behind machismo, like, yeah, it's sparkly, but it's blowing up, all right? Anybody can get it. Shots fired, okay? You know, 4th of July is just a straight pride parade. That's all it's ever been, you know? It's just the one time a year guys get to be like, yeah! It's basically, don't act like it's not drag just because you put on a longer beard. Like, you dancing in the street too, you know? That's why I'm always blown away by people who complain about pride and they're like, there's no straight pride parade. I'm like, yours is coming up in a month. Like, you can't give it 30 days. Even when you think about it too, you think about the way that the country came together too. We think of the founding fathers as all these old wise men and everything, because that's when they got painted. You know, they got painted late. They had already survived the war by the time we painted them. When they were in the war, they were much younger. We got the pains when they were like 40. But they fought in the war. You think they were fighting in the war old? You know what I mean? Like, yo, you think Washington was in the war like, get them, boys? No, y'all shoot. Oh. No, these were young men. Young men battling to create a country, you know? And it's mind-blowing how young they were when we won. You know, July 4th of 1776, Alexander Hamilton was in his 20s, early 20s. So was Aaron Burr. You know, some of the oldest people, I think even Washington was like only 40 or something. And that's just, it should be a testament to the fact that sometimes, you know, as much as young people don't always know the way, they have the energy to go the furthest, you know? So sometimes it's important to like let young people lead and old people guide, you know? I think that's how you you know, because there's someone that has all the passion, all the fire in their heart to do something, to like try to build a better world, and then there's someone behind them that doesn't have as much of the fire anymore, but is like, don't trip over that rock. Just go a little bit more left and you'll be fine. Don't do what I did. That's how I messed up my knee, though. No. Founding fathers they're fascinating to me because, you know, they were trying to carve out an ideal into making it, you know, making it substantial, making it real, making it a country and everything. But there were still some pretty deep. I don't know. It's a hard thing to write down. You know, all men are created equal, and then look over and be like, yeah, except. Yeah, I mean. So it's a dream that took time, still takes time, still hasn't been fully realized in the way that it's at least on the paper. You know, like sometimes people have this revisionist history about the founding fathers, like they would have wanted the best for everyone and for all of us to get along. And I'm like, no, they said what they meant. They, do you know what I mean? Like, the founding fathers didn't have slaves, but also be like, one day someone will right this wrong. You know? But I think about how even, you know, people know more about Alexander Hamilton now because of the musical and stuff. But Hamilton, you know, staunchly against slavery and everything, and he was young, so I'm sure he was like this young kid that people looked at like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. He just talks a lot, you know? And it's funny how we know about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr's feud mostly because of the musical, but we don't know how petty it got. Alexander Hamilton built a home in New York City, right? And Aaron Burr used his money to build a home down the street because he was jealous of where Alexander's home was, so he built the house pretty close by so that I guess Hamilton could see him hating from down the street. Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr were the original Kendrick and Drake. Amazing. I also get excited for the summer. I get excited for July because it usually means, at least for some years, that Will Smith has a new movie out. And it's happened. Bad Boys is out. It's crushing the box office, you know. Does Will Smith slap all the money out of Hollywood? Man, I want them to make as many Bad Boys movies as possible. I want to see these men old. I want there to be so many Bad Boys movies that after a while you're like, boys? I want them to make so many they gotta change it to Bad Unks, you know? As I'm getting older, I realize this year that all of my close friends are either in or closely approaching their 30s. And it's so funny because, you know, everybody 30 and up, when people turn 30 now, they call themselves old, which is insane to me. That's so, like, medicine is getting good enough where you can kind of expect to live to 90, but you're old at 30. Why would you be old most of the time? That doesn't make any sense at all. You don't bring home bread and then the next day go, it's pretty old. No, but I get how people feel that way. I really do, because what's happening is, we know deep down, right? We have this obsession with youth, and we, you know, everyone's trying to look young, be young, stay young, feel young, all this stuff like that. And it's mainly because, and I've said this before, it's mainly because we know how we treat older people. So we're more scared of that than we are getting old. What's wrong with getting older? You know more stuff. Why would that be bad, you know? But I get how people feel old at a certain time, because especially people who are in their 30s now, we're in a very specific time that hasn't happened, at least the way that it's happening to us, right? Because we were like coming of age at a time that was like a turning point for what feels like almost everything, right? Business gets done differently now, tech is different, every aspect of life is different, and we remember right before and as it turned and now. You know what I mean? Like if you're in your like 30s, you're like 33 and up, you remember before Google. That sounds ancient. That's... Just to say before Google sounds like another century, because it was. I work with people that are younger than me. And I was explaining to someone, and I hate when I have to explain a thing that makes me sound older than I am, because they're a little younger. So then I had to explain before Google to them, and I sounded crazy. I sounded crazy to me, but I was there, so I know I'm not wrong. I sounded insane. I was like, no, because before Google, you had to just know. And if you didn't know, you had to ask somebody who you hope knew and was friendly And if they if they didn't know, you had to go online. We still had online. Don't do that. We still had online. So then you had to go online and you had to ask Jeeves. And then they were like, "What is Ask Jeeves? Like, what is?" And I was like, "Ask Jeeves is. It's like if Google was white. Like it's." And so you had to ask Jeeves, and if Jeeves didn't know, then you had to go to the library, and you had to ask a librarian. And if the librarian didn't know, they would give you a number with dots. They would give you a library is like a house for books. They would give you a number with dots, and then you would go trace the dots and the number to a book, and then you would read the book to see if the answer to your question was in there, and if it wasn't, you would just know a bunch of different stuff. You would know. A book is like a slow Kindle. It's like. Like you scroll with your finger, but it turns like there's something to turn with your finger. It's not, there's no screen. And then, if your question, what you've been looking for 6 months, yes, it takes a long time. So maybe cut your dad some slack, right? It used to be harder to know. Do you know how crazy you sound saying it used to be harder to know? That's not how I wanted to end it. I know I'm getting older because I'm getting genuinely more and more nostalgic for small things. Like not movies, not like like really small things about life. Like I miss growing up in the 90s. I think all of our appliances in the 90s were just better. They were just like top notch because not only did they last longer and they worked, but you could fix anything in your house by hitting it. Violence solves so much in the home. Growing up, all you need was some fists and some belief. And you could fix a whole house. Don't want me to call a contractor or anything. Like if you had just any appliance, you know? And what was special about it was that you knew how to hit it. You knew how to hit yours. That's very important. It wasn't just you could go hitting stuff. Well, you got to know your machine and you knew how to hit it specifically to get it to work. And it wouldn't work when you went over to your friend's house. You go over to your friend's house and their thing wouldn't be working and you'd be like, and they'd be like, no, you gotta go. And you're like, wow, I didn't know that. I don't have that model. That's good to know. So when I upgrade, it's 2. Okay, that's good to know. And it's 2 towards the front. All right, that's good to know. It was a beautiful time. I just felt like things really worked. You know? Like a 90s washing machine. A 90s washing machine would, you could hear it all through if you were lucky enough to have a washing machine in your home, if you had a laundry room in your home, you could hear, no matter where you were in the house, because the washing machine would be whooping your clothes. No matter where you were in the house, as soon as you started the watch, you would hold off watching a movie. Because you're like, we can't watch a movie and do the laundry. That's not, it's going to mess up the experience, all right? It would be whooping the state. You could hear your clothes getting beat. And they were all loud, and they all just, like, the washing machine moved like it had legs. No matter where you were in the house, you could hear your clothes screaming in the machine, just, oh! And you would go, whether it was your house or somebody else's house, you could go to somebody's house, you could tell how strong their washing machine was by how messed up the paint was on the wall, on that edge that was next to the machine. It would be beating your clothes, beating the stains out, horrific stuff, right? To the point where you could, even when you stained the shirt, you could tell, even back in the 90s, your shirts would be like, don't do that to me, bro. No, come on. Hey, no, we good? I'll push it out. I'll push the stain out. Don't send me in there with them. No. Be amazing. And then if there was a little malfunction, if the door wouldn't lock and lips started coming up and everything, you know, suds started spitting out everything, just took a little like, bam. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh. It was beautiful, you know? These new washing machines. I know I already sound like an old man, but like this. I was at an Airbnb. They had a washing machine in the Airbnb, which at first I was very excited about. I was like, oh, it's amazing. You never get this, right? And the washing machine was state of the art, and it was like a Tesla washing machine. It had so many buttons. It had a keyboard's worth of buttons. It had more buttons than I cared to read. Like it was. I just wanted to hit clean. Like it had a handkerchief setting. It was insanity. And then you put got stain on the shirt, put the clothes in, and then, you know, you hit whatever, turn. There was a lot to do. And then you hit, and it starts, and you can tell something is happening because it's spinning, and you can see through it now. You know, it has the little door where you can look in, and it's spinning so fast that the clothes are gone. Like it's... I was looking, and I was like, I can't tell if it's spinning or if it left. This is crazy, but it was silent, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that it was quiet the entire time, right? Just, but nothing. You couldn't hear anything, right? I didn't even know when the clothes were done. That would have never happened in the 90s. You always knew when your clothes were done because your washing machine would finish beating your clothes. And you would hear, oh! Because they used to put alarm clock stuff in the washing machine to make sure they made the same noise. This thing finished. I had no idea. It finished and it was like, hey. I don't want to disturb you, but I think I did it. And then I pulled the shirt out of the washing machine. The stain was so intact. The stain was sitting there comfortably. The stain was looking at me like it had its legs crossed. Like, looking at me like, your move. Even TVs. I remember we got like a big screen TV and it was a huge deal, but the TV was like, if I remember correctly, it was kind of like a hand-me-down because we got the TV because it wasn't really working as much anymore, so the people that were throwing out TV were like, we're going to get a new TV, and we were like, we don't have a TV, so let's take yours, right? And it was huge. It took up like most of remember the big 90s, tall, wide, remember when TVs had ass? Do you know what I mean? Like really had it, like some true thickums. You know what I mean? Like, you would go over to your friend's house, they'd be like, I got a new TV. You'd be like, oh, she packing. Oh, wow. I don't even understand. I don't even know why they made them like that. But it had like, it would be the screen here, but then just boom, boom. And that was great because even though the TV didn't always work, you know, you knew how to work it, right? Because it would do that thing where all those TVs back then, when they didn't work, they would just get wavy. You remember that? It would be like, I'd put on the news and it would just be like red, blue, green, red, magenta, yellow. And you turn on the news and be like, at 8 o'clock. Because I was little when we got this TV, and I remember turning it on and it wasn't working. I was like, Mama, the TV ate a popsicle. And my dad would usually be the one to hit the TV because he knew how to do it, right? But my dad hit the he hit the TV a lot. My dad hit the TV so much, sometimes I was wondering if it was really about the TV. You know what I mean? Sometimes my dad would hit TV, I'm like, no, it was working. But my dad hit the TV so much that I think the TV genuinely learned to recognize, hey! One time I was trying to watch the news and my dad came home. That's all he did. He just came into the house and the TV was like, 8 o'clock. As soon as he closed the door, it was like 2 people were murdered. And then I got a TV. I bought a TV for myself as an adult because I wanted to have my own big screen TV. I wanted to have my own, like, oh, I'm sitting at home chilling for the weekend, watching a movie, have a real experience for myself, right? And I bought it. It was too expensive. I took out a car note on this TV. This several payment TV, and you know, we bring it home. I'm excited initially. I'm super excited because, you know, they bring it home and they install it, they mount it on the wall and everything. Smart TV, brilliant TV. Good grades TV, right? But I'm trying to watch this TV and I want to be, I'm not like a dumb person, but like I cannot figure out how to get the subtitles off this TV, and it's like, I can't stress how much this is not my fault, all right? I'm not like a dumb, like I know I'm up here doing the jokes so we're all having a good, but I'm not a dumb guy. Like this is crazy, all right? And I want to be clear, I know that it's not the HBO subtitles at all, because then I go to the settings at HBO and HBO is like, it's not us. We're not the one to do it. But I'm trying to watch Dune 2, right? Try to watch Dune 2 on this big screen TV. I turn on HBO, I'm watching, and it gets to that part where like Timothy Chalamet doing that like Fremen language, so he's like, da, 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 you know what I mean? Like whatever they say. And so then in the movie, they have subtitles for that part, because nobody knows what they say, right? So then the movie, those subtitles come up. But then on top of those subtitles are these like nasty gray italic subtitles coming up, and I'm like, who is typing? That's not what I wanted at all. And I can't get it off, and it's great, and it was everything I watched. I would leave HBO, I go watch something somewhere else, and they were like, and that's not even as bad as when I first got it. Because when I first got it, when I first brought the TV home, it had, I don't know how it happened, it had the audio description on. All right. Now, if you, some of you are familiar, so. If you don't know what audio description is, it's basically if you're watching it and you're visually impaired, it will give you both context for what is happening in the show and things that are more like stage direction. They're just happening silently, right? So then I don't know that that's on. I don't know. I didn't press anything. I just turned on TV. I hit on the TV. That's all I did. And so then I went to watch Law and Order SVU, all right? So now I'm watching Law & Order, and Olivia is like handing somebody their ass, right? Like she's just like, you don't know anything about Survivor, you don't know anything. And then she walks out of the room, and then as she walks out of the room, my TV is like, Olivia leaves the room. And I'm like, who is that? Who is that? Who is in here? And I went to the settings. I went to Peacock. I went into the settings, and the Peacock settings were like, it's not us. We're not doing that. I've used remotes all my life. I've all the time used the remote, and I pressed the remote was not remoting. Finally, it was off. I don't even know what I did. Maybe I didn't do anything. Maybe the TV just decided to stop doing it. I have no idea. But I was watching a different episode, and Olivia was once again handing somebody their ad. You don't know anything about survivors. You don't know anything. And then she left the room, and I was like, because what can you do with this TV? What can I do when I can't get the subtitles on? You can't hit it. You can't hit it. I took out a mortgage on this TV. You cannot hit it. You used to be able, when the old TV, when I was little, I would play Sega Genesis connected to the back of the TV, right? And then sometimes Sega would be glitching up, which, translated for kids means the game was cheating, right? So then the game would be cheating, and so then I would get mad, and I would stand up, like 10 years old, and I'd stand up, and I'd punch the TV in its face. I'd punch the TV as hard as I could in what I thought was the nose, right? Like I would just, and I don't know what the TV was made of, but I would punch the TV and I would pull back the most mangled hand. Cause I don't know what it was made of, but it wasn't glass. There's no way it was glass. It had to be like clear steel or something. Cause the hand that I was pulling back, all my fingers had switched up and stuff. My thumb was in the middle. And now you can't punch a TV at all. You can't even dust this TV. You just gotta bargain with it. You used to be able to hit everything. The only thing you didn't hit back in the day was the microwave. And I feel like you didn't hit the microwave because then and now, we don't really understand how the microwave works. Yeah, I mean, I can only describe a microwave. If someone had never met a microwave before and they were trying to ask me what a microwave was, I'd be like, it is hot magic. Yeah, I mean, they put some hellfire to good use and just, it gets the soups hot when you put it in there. My grandma, when I was little, she had what I imagined was the second microwave ever made. Like it was one of the oldest microwaves I've ever seen, and it didn't make any sense. We would try to get her to get rid of it all the time because it was so old that the door handle for the microwave looked like a door. Like it just. And then the buttons, she had it for so long. This had to have been, maybe it was the first microwave. She had it for so long that all the buttons had faded. So you don't know what you're pressing. I don't know what's potato and what's two. Like, every time you put something in this microwave, it's a gamble, right? You don't know if you're hitting defrost, if you're hitting 9 or whatever. And so, there was one time that everybody was cooking in the kitchen, but I wanted to make some easy mac in little cups. So I flipped open, put the water in, tried to put it in the microwave. It was like dun 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 dun. Because I just had to go by feeling because all the buttons were like Audis. That makes like all the buttons were poking out like. Go ahead, press me. Go ahead. Press me. I don't know what's gonna happen either. Press me. Let's do it. Do it. Do it. Now I remember I pressed the buttons and put the easy mac, but there's so many people in the kitchen. I'm getting pressed up against the microwave, and I didn't hit it. I just was pressed up against it, and my whole face started to get hot. And I was like, y'all, this is leaking. I don't know. It is leaking magic in the kitchen. We need to evacuate.
Put your hands together for Josh Johnson, everybody.
like I've been traveling a lot, and in traveling, it's hard when you're an adult to look at things that you experienced when you were a kid and not recontextualize them when you get more information. When you're a little kid, the world is face value. Everything that's happening is happening because I guess it's supposed to, or because that's what people do, or everything's very simple when you're a little kid, and then you get older and you see different things, and you look back, and you're like, wow, that's what was going on when I thought things were just normal, And I've been experiencing that a lot with around America with the dollar stores. There are three types of dollar stores. There is Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and Dollar General. Now, an honorable mention does go out to the 99-cent store. The 99-cent store I want to discuss first, because the 99-cent store is completely unhinged. First of all, they don't have inventory at the 99-cent store. They have what they have, and you either found it or you didn't. You know that you found it or you didn't because what they showcase outside the 99-cent store doesn't make any sense at all. It's just up to the discretion of that franchise owner. The 99-cent store, the store will be here, right? And then they'll just put 2 shower curtains and then 16 potted plants out front. What is this place? Then you walk in and it's like, it's like if somebody truly made a business out of garage. Because when you walk in, nothing has a designated spot or anything. There are things hanging on hooks I didn't even remember had hooks. I forgot that each broom I've owned had a little hook to it. But then when you walk into the 99-cent store, almost like a beaded curtain, you walk through brooms hitting you in your face. The 99-cent store that I went to was so big. It was way too big. It was a warehouse of trash. It was like a hoarder died and then they tried to sell everything. Because the 99-cent store I went to had a stick man. It had a man who would get to the tallest stuff at the top. And this was the worst stick man in stick man history. Admittedly, some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, and this is a black thing. This is mainly where we shop. There is a stick man. But the stick man was not good at all, because you're used to a stick man getting up there and unhooking something with precision, bringing it down. He might even drop the stick a little bit, catching his hand, hand it to you, right? This stick man was over here. I can't tell if he was nearsighted or farsighted, but he could not see what he was sticking. This man was over here battling. You'd be like, can I get the one up there? He's like, yeah, I got you right now. I got you right now, young blood. Then it falls on the ground. He'd pick it up, dust it off. No. Our stick man was trash, and he had, okay, look. I need glasses, all right? I'm not better than anybody. I'm not judging. Everybody got their own prescription, and that's their cross to bear, all right? But he had the most specific eyes I have ever seen in my entire life. This man had one Coke bottle and one that was very thin. It seemed like he just needed a monocle, but he was like, nah, I don't trust myself to hold it on my cheek like that. Go ahead and give me glasses and just make one glass transparent glass. Because he clearly only had one bad eye. His eye, this eye had to be good. Because when you would look at him, one eye looked like he was doing this to you. right? Like one eye looked super big and the other eye looked regular. But then when you saw him, when he would turn, you could see both of his eyes were regular size eyes. So that was just the glass. And so he had one like Coke, but thick, bulletproof glass on this side, and then one that was very, very thin, right? He would knock stuff over and go pick it up and everything. And he worked at the 99-cent store since maybe before time. This man had been there a very long time. He might still be there now, I don't know. But everything that's there is not like quality. You know what I mean? It's literally 99 cents in today's economy. This stuff isn't even just made in China. This is up off the floor in China. This is the stuff that they throw away in China that they were like, you want this? All right. If you sure. This is how you can tell these are the worst products ever made in the history of humanity. They are so toxic that whatever you touch, whatever color it is, that's the color you are when you get done touching it. If you touch a green broom, you will pull back a Shrek hand, all right? I had a green broom and a blue dustpan because they were sold separately, you know? Goodness forbid you package them together and they're $1.19. You know what I mean? They were like, we can't have that. We'll have each for 99 cents. And then I bought the green broom and the blue dustpan, and one hand was Martian Manhunter and the other hand was Smurf. I couldn't get my hands back to normal for days. I don't know what they painted that with. Spray paint comes out easier. 99-cent store is trash. And then you get to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree made the guarantee a long time ago that everything would be $1, and they were the first to break that promise. You want a lesson in life not being fair? You go as a child to the Dollar Tree and buy one of their very illegal individually packaged Capri Suns. Capri Sun they don't sell them like this. You're not supposed to do this. That's how I knew I was broke sometimes. Like you a kid going into the Dollar Tree for a Lucy Capri Sun. It's terrible, but like, and you know, they don't put them on the shelf. You gotta know if you know. And so you go up there, you like, all right. Feel like I'm buying weed or something. I'm over here. Come on, sip. Come on. You miming it. You. One time I bought a loose Capri Sun, and the man up in Dollar Tree tried to charge me for the straw. I was like, you are the devil. You are. Ooh, I rebuke you. That's crazy. You gonna sell. That's how I can tell you a demon. You gonna sell me the straw separately. What am I supposed to do with this? Suck it with a safety pin? This is crazy. That's insane. This man over here sliding the Capri Sun to me, and I'm looking at him. What's wrong, man? You know, come on. He's like, that's extra, young blood. I'm like, hey, what? From a young age, I could identify with people who rob stores because that was very aggravating. Dollar Tree was over here just, you know, letting themselves run out of inventory. I would go in the Dollar Tree and there'd just be whole spaces, whole sections empty. You know, at least the 99-cent store is packed. Packed to the brim with stuff that doesn't even make sense. The 99-cent store would have one of something proudly. They'd have one of something and the price tag. There was one time I went to a 99-cent store, I saw one bra. That's crazy. I'm like, that's lost and found, if anything. This is, y'all don't have a single other bra in here. And you gotta hang the bra next to the snacks. You know you shouldn't be selling this bra. Because Dollar Tree would let themselves run out of like everything, and then you walk in, it's just bare shelves and stuff. At least the 99-cent store would try to make sense of things. 99-cent store doesn't make any real sense at all, and you can tell because sometimes they'll sell stuff that should be sold for a totally different purpose. I've been very confused in a 99-cent store before. One time, I was in a 99-cent store, and on the shelf, it said 99 cents. So far, everything's checking out. It said 99 cents, and then it said hat. It was a hat for 99 cents, right? But then on the shelf, clearly, is a bucket. That's a bucket. It's a bucket, though. Like it is, like I'm not crazy. That's a bucket. You can make it a hat if you want, if you believe, but that's a bucket. All you gotta do is flip this over on its bottom and put bucket, and we don't have any problems. But hat is crazy. And then when I'm checking out, I bought a broom, I bought a dustpan, and then he's like, and one hat? And I was like, you don't believe that, though. There's no way you believe that. Because it's not a hat, it's a bucket. And I want to be clear, it's not even a bucket hat. It is a bucket. A bucket. So then you have Dollar Tree. Then you have Family Dollar. Family Dollar, I've talked about this before. Family Dollar really helped me pinpoint on the map of life where I was. There's a quote, I'm gonna get it wrong, but there's a quote by, I think it was Nikola Tesla, that said that man's grasp, the reach, it's man's grasp, what is it?
Man's grasp exceeds his reach.
Man's grasp exceeds his reach. And I think, it's man's grasp.
Reach exceeds his grasp.
Man's reach exceeds his grasp. I was like never gonna correct you because I didn't know either, but like as soon as you said something, it did sound. Yeah. I didn't know either. So man's reach exceeds his grasp, and I think that Family Dollar's inventory exceeds its means, because every year of my life, Family Dollar has been trying harder and harder to be a grocery store. Every time I go up in Family Dollar, they add one more item that they should not have at Family Dollar. I remember the day I went in Family Dollar and saw milk, and I was like, no, we not built for this. A lot of people are gonna get sick, okay? I'm a kid, but I'm still trying to tell adults how to run their business. I was like, y'all don't even have the fridge space for this milk. Come on now. And Family Dollar has always helped me keep track, truly, being honest with myself of where I am on this map of life, right? Because at first, I walked in Family Dollar, I saw milk, and I was like, y'all, don't do this. And 2 years later, I was like, let me go ahead and get the milk. 3%, you say? I've never heard of 3% before. That is interesting. I've never had 3% in my life. Maybe I'll get stronger bones. Who knows? So you got Dollar Tree, you got Family Dollar, and then you have Dollar General. Dollar General is the stuff of nightmares. Dollar General is straight out of a horror movie. And I don't say that because of the experiences I've had at Dollar General. I say that because of where they put Dollar Generals. Dollar General will be the last thing you see before you die. And not in a curse sort of way, not in like the Ring sort of way. Dollar General will be put in the middle of a field. Whether you are in the South or the Midwest, the only places Dollar General truly exists and thrives is the middle of nowhere in the South, the middle of nowhere in the Midwest, and the Sahara. I don't know. By the time you see a Dollar General, you're like, is this a mirage? Because I've seen nothing but fields for 30 minutes and then one Dollar General. With a man working there from the 1800s, who knows? Those Dollar General, people that work at Dollar General get bold with you when they're out. When you out in like their area, you at this Dollar General in like Ball, Louisiana. You walk in, it's like, not from around here, huh? It's like, you even talking like the movie. Who says that to a customer? Not even where you from. Not from around here, are you? Oh. Now you can tell a Dollar General is terrifying. Because out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, I'm just talking about my experiences growing up, you know. Out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, a Dollar General is the least likely to be robbed, all right? I've seen Dollar Generals, you know, be on the news, not for being robbed, for the attempt. Do you know the horror that has to go down for the attempt of a robbery to make the actual news? Nothing got stolen, but everything that happened was still so bad that it made the news. There was a dude who was on the news. I'm pretty sure it was Dollar General. And this dude made the news because they ran up in the Dollar General trying to rob it, which also not a great plan. Dollar General doesn't exactly have a lot of sales going on. And so for all the sales they do have going on, let's just say no Dollar General I've heard of needs a safe, all right? And so to run up at a Dollar General to rob it, you already expecting to run out with like $26, okay? But this man ran up at a Dollar General trying to rob it, right? And not only did they take his gun, they beat him with his gun. And then the getaway driver called the police on them. I'm just curious how that went. Because when you run up in a place to rob it, you at least have what one would hope is the element of surprise. You would hope a place doesn't get robbed so often that they are ready like Neo from the Matrix to snatch the gun out of your hand as soon as you walk in. I'm sure people going in to rob a place have like a rob and walk or like a gun-toting bravado maybe. But imagine being robbed so often that you're like, no, when they come back. Because this is the thing that blows my mind, is that we're in the South, and this dude ran up in a Dollar General to rob it, and they didn't shoot him. The South loves guns. We love guns. And we, like a fever dream, wish we could shoot someone. And then here is someone running in with a gun to do evil. Someone that the law would say, shoot. And the employees at the Dollar General were like, actually, I really prefer hands. Imagine how crazy you have to be, how bad of a week you must be having for somebody to run up in there with a gun out to rob you, and you go, this is exactly what I needed. You know what? Let me tell you something about the Lord, all right? The Lord won't put more on you than you can bear, okay? And the Lord knew people had been trying me all week. People I wasn't allowed to hit. People that I could never put my hands on. And so then the Lord sent you to me at work, the place I hate most, to go ahead and take out a week's worth of frustration on you with the butt of this sawed-off shotgun. Imagine you run into a Dollar General to rob it, gun already out. Hey, everybody freeze, whatever he said. And then the employees turn and he's like, open the register. And they're just smiling. You don't know what happens next. Maybe a blackout. Maybe you watch them take the gun out of your hands because you weren't expecting that. And then you see the butt of the gun coming back real slow. I'm sure the next part is a blur. I'm sure all you really know is you hear yourself getting whooped. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. You forget, was this my gun the whole time? It's not acting like my gun. You wake up. The police are standing over you, and you haven't been arrested. Because all the damage was done to you. Oh, Dollar General, it's insane. It's crazy, too, because every once in a while, Dollar General will buy a store that used to be a nice store. Like, it used to be like a dope store. Like, truly, it used to be like crazy. Like, I remember there was a place I went with my grandma, and I don't even remember the name. That's how like little I was, where it was just a memory of being with her holding my hand, and us walking into this place. And you know how when your little things are bigger? So I'm sure if I went there now, it would look like the size of a regular department store. But she took me to this place, and it was huge. In my head, it was so big, right? And she bought some socks, she bought some other stuff and everything, and then we left. And I remember when I would ride with her, because, you know, I would go with my grandma during the summers or after school. My mom would drop me off at my grandma's because she would still be working and stuff. And so when I'd run errands with my grandma, we'd pass that place over and over. I'd always want to go back inside because I had such a fun memory of like, there were so many toys. It's just huge, right? And it had closed. And so my grandma would remind me every time that it had closed, right? And then eventually it became like a dollar store, like a chain dollar store. And I remember it being like, man, that place was cool. they sell 3% milk. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I told my friends a story a long time ago about how my friend met this woman online, right? And this was back when meeting people online was still like not quite done. It was still new to do that. And the woman that he met wanted to meet up one night, which is exciting because this is why you do it. And she said she wanted to meet up, and he was like, where do you want to meet? And she was like, oh, behind the library. Which should have been a clue. Said she wanted to meet behind the library, and he was like, oh, okay. Which library? Because so she told him which branch. And then they met up, and it just took him too long to realize he was being robbed. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just... Like, even when he showed up and it was two dudes, he was like, but where's Sarah? It's like, You need to wake up, dude. Sarah's a fiction. And that's the way that I feel about Trump federalizing D.C. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I was watching it this morning and watching them talk about it, and it was an interesting speech because you would have thought he would have stayed on crime the whole time, but he definitely diverted a few times. Like there was one point where I really don't like. I'm not even joking right now. I genuinely don't understand what he was trying to say, because there was one point where he was talking about how like trans people fight or something, and it just started to feel like the kind of conversation you have with someone who is 2,000 years old. Like it just... It was weird. It was like because it came out of nowhere. It wasn't like part of the thing. And then people, are obviously like worried, terrified, confused and everything. Because there are people who are like, he can't do that. That's not legal. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, what are you, a Democrat? Like, this is the goofiest. That's illegal. It's like, all right. That's what my buddy said when he was getting robbed, too. He was like, well, this is illegal. Stop. Out of your mind. Hey, that's illegal. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. That's a question that Democrats constituents ask. That's a question that Trump is asking. That's a question on everybody's mind right now. If you oppose what he's doing, what are you gonna do about it? And I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know what to do at all because I genuinely don't. I mean, I know that people protested today off of the announcement, off the fact that, like, just imagine you live in DC and Trump says he's gonna, like, deploy the National Guard. And you just, like, not only is crime at this, like, 25, 30-year low, but, like, you just got to the point where you were probably starting to feel kind of safe on the street, and now it's going to be the National Guard looking at you every day, confused why they're there too. You know, people forget that the armed forces, like, obviously, you know, soldiers are supposed to follow orders and everything like that, but the armed forces are filled with people of differing backgrounds and opinions and everything. So it's not as if everybody that ever gets deployed is excited to be deployed. And it's not as if they're always well taken care of when they are deployed. You know, these people, they signed up to do a service for their country. I'm curious how they feel about being deployed against the people that they're supposed to protect instead of against, like, some foreign invader or something. You know, I'm not gonna act like I know. I've never served or anything, but I've talked to people in the service, and they come from all different types of backgrounds. They vote in all different types of ways, and I'm sure that if you're walking down the streets of DC feeling disheartened, feeling like you're being occupied, there's probably somebody standing there as you walk into work that's like, yeah. I don't know, because it has been on my mind all day, and trying to figure out how to not just, like, talk about it, but say something more than just, like, I think that might be bad. Like, I think that we're having a moment a lot like my friend had, where it's like you just have to be very aware of what's happening, because to not be aware doesn't mean the thing will go away, you know? Like, we don't want to be behind a library going, "Where's Sarah?" for our entire democracies. Because that's, yeah. I think that's the thing that I find so, like, aggravating about it, is that he is a person that tells you what he's going to do, and then he does it. And then there are people who supposedly like him that are positive he's not going to do the thing they said he was going to do. They're like, no, he won't do that though. And it's like, then why would he say it? He's trolling. Like, he's just like, all right, but what if he's not? No, he wouldn't do the thing he said he'd do. Who does that? You know? Because I'm not going to act like I know what to do. And I think it's more important for everyone should know who, on every level, their representatives are, and what they do for you, and what they're doing for you right now. And it's easier to hold those people to account when you know who they are. You know what I mean? Like your state senator, or everything down to, like, you know, alderman. Everything. Because it's the fact that these people go unnoticed, the fact that we expect whoever, business people, celebrities, whatever it is, to pick up the slack of the people that were elected to do those jobs, all right? Like, we're in a position now as a country that's very scary, because we look to companies to do some of the work that local government should be able to do. And now we've stripped resources from local government to the point where you do need who knows, Amazon to come in and bring in jobs, because how are we going to get jobs now? Or you need on a state level companies that you give everything to, and they give you very little for the resource that you're missing, you know? And so now we're at a point where some of our infrastructure is completely buckled without us really realizing it. You know, there's been such an influx of money into the economy because of AI and because of the gamble and the race to be number one in AI that all these companies are making. There's been such a rush to build and fill these data centers that money is flowing in a way that, you know, the effect of the tariffs isn't fully being felt. The economy and the like 5 top businesses in the S&P 500 are now carrying most of the weight of the S&P 500. Like we're at a point that's close to tipping, and it's very important for the people to be held accountable. They're actually accountable. You know, it gets very easy to divert and get mad at this person or notice that this person said something, whatever it is. It's the actual people who vote on these things, who have the power to say yes or no to large companies, knowing that you know where they are and what they do, that holds them to account. As long as you are distracted or you're blaming whatever, the person to blame when it's too late, then things are going to stay the same. You know, representatives, to me, work a lot like when you're out with your friends, and let's say you're like young too, maybe you're like 21, out at a bar or a club for the first time. You don't have any experience with this stuff. You're just the 4 or 5 of you guys all together, buddies in college, going out to like a bar or a club for the first time. You don't really know. You don't have any swag yet. Don't have a ton of confidence. All you know is you see 4 or 5 beautiful ladies across the room, and so you think to yourselves, oh, well, what should we do? One of us should say hello. We should say hello, you know, and then maybe they'll want to come over here, or maybe we can go over there, but it should just be one. If it's all 5 of us, that's just, ooh. You have enough wherewithal to know that all 5 of you approaching at the same time maybe isn't the move. 5 horny men approaching all together, ooh, doesn't come off well. You know what I mean? If all 5 of you are... it's not going to go fantastic. You know that. So you decide, I'm going to we'll send a representative. One of us, the best of us, to make us look good. We'll send them over there. He'll charm everybody, and then we'll walk over and reap the benefits of his hard work. You know? Or maybe he'll be so charming that he'll invite them over to our table, and then we can order drinks for us and them. But we'll know that we sent him, he did a good job, and then he'll come back to us. And so your friends, they start campaigning. They start campaigning with promises, you know? No, I can go over there. I can do it. It's like, no, listen, Daryl, you blink too much, all right? You blink way too much, all right? You gonna run up in there, they gonna think it's a bomb under them or something. You blinking too much. You blinking now. Stop blinking so much. We can't send you over there. You look nervous right now. And so then the group nominates Mark. Mark has at least had a girlfriend. He knows how to talk to women. He's had a girlfriend, he has sisters, and a mom. He knows what to do. Let's get Mark over there. So Mark, elected by the group, goes over there, and even before he walks over, he says something that Mark would say. He stands up and he's like, "Hey guys, thank you so much. All right, your faith in me means a lot. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna do my best for us, for all of us, okay? I appreciate you all so much, and look, I'm gonna do my darndest. Who knows what the result will be, but your faith in me means the world. No matter what, we're gonna have a great night tonight, okay? See y'all in a second." And then he goes over, he makes his approach. And because Mark is engaging, he's sweet, and he's interesting, he's easy to talk to. And because he's extroverted and he's outgoing, he knows how to approach without creeping or intimidating. And so quickly, you see these 5 ladies having what looks like a really good conversation with Mark. Things are looking up. This is incredible. The body language is phenomenal. Mark is over here working the room. And then Mark makes that motion and he points at y'all. Y'all weren't ready. You didn't know. Everyone was about to look over here. And so Mark points over at you and you're like, Mark turns around and keeps chatting, and after a while, things start to slow down. You don't really know why, but some nods and still a couple of laughs. And then Mark, he doesn't beckon you over. He doesn't give the thumbs up like they're about to head back with him. And he comes back, he sits down, and your dumbest friend is like, "How'd it go?" And Mark says, "Well, fellas, they all have husbands." But Mark did his best. And that's not actually his fault. He tried, right? You can send a representative. They can promise to do something, and maybe the thing is bigger than the promise that they made. That is possible. That they tried as hard as somebody could try. And they didn't deliver because the circumstances weren't there. But let's talk about a different scenario, a more common scenario. Maybe Mark was sick. He wasn't even there. He's at home. Your buddy Chet is campaigning. And Chet campaigns on some pretty jarring promises. He's like, "Look, I'm going to go over there, all right? I'm going to be like, what's up? Be like, hey, ladies." That'll get their attention real quick because I'm gonna pop up right in. I'm not even gonna just like stroll up. I'm gonna walk up and then I'm gonna clear those last 2 steps real fast, really get in their face. Bow, right? Like that. "What's up, lady?" And I'm just gonna tell them what it is. I'm like, you could have a boring night, or you could have a night with us. And look, Chet is the loudest. He's the loudest. He's the most adamant with the supposedly strongest campaign. And so You elect him, he unfortunately becomes your representative. And you see him off, and he doesn't give a speech like Mark did. He gives a speech like, all right. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be smelling like perfume. All right. And then he walks over, and you see him walk over, and his approach is startling. Because he can't just walk over. He's doing like he's doing a walk that's like kind of Denzel, but if Denzel was severely hurt. You know, Denzel has that swag to his walk. Chet is over here. And then he does what he said he was gonna do. He walks up, and you can't really hear him, but you can see the body language. You don't hear him give his little speech, but you can tell when he gives it because everybody slapped him. And then he walks back over. He sits down. And your dumbest friend goes, how'd it go? And he's like, man, let's get out of here. Everybody's stuck up in here. Well, and it does feel like that's where we are. Yeah, I mean, we're in a pretty bad situation. There's way more Chets than there are Marks. You know, because I used to look around, especially when I first started touring, even when I was in some of the worst, you know, motels, hotels, like some of the worst, like. But I did. The first time I ever got a chance to travel this country at all and meet new people who were from new places that I had never been to before. Not only did I have a good time because I was having these new experiences, but I really felt like I was seeing something really, really beautiful. Everybody wasn't happy and everybody didn't get along. I'm not like pining for a time that didn't exist. I'm just saying that like really getting out for the first time in my life all those years ago felt a lot like walking through that department store with my grandma. It was really special. I look back on it fondly, and I am genuinely afraid that we've gone from that to a dollar store that sells 3% milk.
Mira.